it doesn't matter how many times you go through hearing that someone's passed, the impact is just
Devastating.
it's devastating. It's undescribable, and whatever you're doing, it stops you in your tracks. You know, it just stops you in your tracks. So, I don't think I really understood grief until we lost our parents. You know,
Yeah. I think, yes, obviously losing mum and dad so close to each other, but I think for me, losing Rose, obviously Paul's mum, so suddenly, and yes, we've lost uncles and family members before, but losing Rose was, I don't know. I don't know. You always get this.
I think
Rose
as well,
is Virtue's mother-in-law.
But it was so sudden as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When it's sudden, that is different because you're not prepared for it. When someone's sick, although, you know, obviously your connection with them, you know that it's coming. So it's almost like you're beginning to prepare for it.
Even though you're never prepared.
Yeah. Well, this is what. So obviously, we know with your dad passed away when you guys were young. He was sick, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to explain. Like,
So
you were how old?
I was 9.
I was 7.
Leah was 7. And again, it happened so quickly. He wasn't feeling well. I remember
We came back off
that's
holiday,
right.
didn't we?
First time he had paid for us and Mummy to go to Jamaica. It was 1979 for the 6 weeks holiday. It was our first visit. We had a fantastic
Sorry,
time.
it's first bit that your dad had been back since he'd come?
No, he didn't come with us.
He didn't come with us.
So we went to Jamaica with my mum.
Yeah, and the reason why he didn't come with us because he set up his own business. So obviously, it's like he needed to be around. So Mummy and us went. It was our first time in Jamaica, and we had a whale of a time. I remember, it's in the family and everything. Came back. He picked us up, and I remember Mummy teasing him actually and saying, "Oh, because I haven't been around, you haven't been eating," because he looks a bit. Even though he was never big, but you could see that he'd lost weight. So he said, "Oh, he hasn't been feeling too well." That was kind of it. Obviously, things escalated, and my mum said, "We need to go and see a doctor," which I went to see the doctor, who referred him to a consultant, who diagnosed stomach cancer. And Mummy wanted a second opinion, so they went to Harley Street, and again, he said it's definitely cancer. They said that they will see if they could operate and see if they can remove the growth. And at St. Thomas's Hospital, he had the operation, but when I say he had the operation, that opened him up. But when they saw the growth, they knew that they couldn't do anything. So they just closed it back up. There was nothing. It spread. So it was just a matter of time, So this was all, I think he saw the doctor ending of September, so October, November, and sadly, December the 2nd, he passed.
So within 3 months?
It was.
So was this all being relayed to you? Like,
well, I don't really remember the ins and outs personally.
It's like I remember him in and out of hospital. I remember when he was at home, and I even remember, it's strange as a child, even though I was 9, but I remember the nurse that I'm now realise is the Macmillan nurse coming to kind of give support.
To your home?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
And even suggesting to Mummy that, maybe putting him in St. Christopher Hospice later on.
Okay.
So like preparing for that because, And I also remember when he was in hospital, and that's the last time I remember seeing him. And I remember the ward, it was 6 people, 3 beds one side, 3 beds on the other.
I remember that.
So we would always just go in, and as soon as you go in, it's like he's saying that the first person on the left. And I remember walking in, and I saw the person on the left, and I thought, oh, there's now a boy in that bed. So I remember walking all the way down, thinking, where is he? Then turning back and realising that was him. Oh, wow. He looked so...
He'd lost so much weight.
But he looked so young as well. I remember him looking so young. I don't recall like, you know, conversation as such. But I just remember just being there, and I remember, you know, and that's the last time. And my godmother, coincidentally, was getting married Christmas
Yeah,
Eve,
around the same
yeah,
time.
around that time. So I was one of the bridesmaids. So after he passed,
Mum took his body back to.
Sorry, people. I thought I had put it on
Silent.
silent.
okay, Nod.
This is live. This is real.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shall continue.
Yeah.
Still
So
silent, yeah.
So just to go forward, he wanted to be buried back in
Jamaica.
Jamaica. So my mum and my grandmother took him back, but me and Cleo stayed with my godparents and my cousin in between them at the time. So it's going through, like, so obviously him passing and everything. I remember it was Gaddy and Uncle Victor that told us that he'd passed.
I was going to ask who told you.
Yeah.
So your mum didn't tell you?
Mummy was at the hospital at the time, but
Yeah,
we were staying
with
at my
them.
godparents. So obviously she must have contacted them, and they actually told us. I remember Uncle Victor kind of doing most of the talking. And I remember him taking us back to Mummy, and I remember being in the car and him playing. You know, he loved like kind of like a jazzy music. But I kind of remember all these kind of music. But going forward with everything and just thinking. I remember feeling abandoned and feeling angry. Like, why has he left us? You know, he was a great dad. You know, we were daddy's girls. You know, and I do remember feeling angry, and that escalated into getting in trouble in primary school because we started beating people up. We're fighting all the time.
Both of you?
Yeah, well, if one was fighting, the other would join, and vice versa.
That's true.
Wow.
So Mummy decided that it'd be good if we get some counselling. And I remember that was at the General Health Centre.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, you know, because I don't actually remember. I remember going down there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember any counselling. I remember sitting outside the room. I thought it was Mummy that was getting the counselling.
Mummy, you sat outside. You know what going in?
Mummy was getting counselling, but Mummy was getting it separate from
You guys.
No. You know the lady with Chris. Remember the lady called Chris?
Yes.
She was getting that separate,
Oh,
not at the
right.
General Health Centre. The General
So
Health
we were
Centre.
getting the
Remember,
counselling.
getting
at
counselling.
7, between 7 and 9,
9,
you
right.
would have a lot more understanding
Yes,
than Cleo
yes.
would have at the time.
And it's strange you saying that because I remember going up the stairs and I remember going through that door, and I remember it was a woman, but I don't recall anything of what was
was
discussed.
said or-
And we were going to counselling like a weekly thing,
That's interesting.
but I don't remember anything.
All I remember is sitting outside the room, and I thought I was waiting for my mum.
No,
You don't remember
I
nothing,
don't
right?
remember nothing.
it was
Nothing.
counselling.
So how did you get, I don't know, did you get over, how did you get through it? That's what I say. How did you get through it?
I must, obviously the family were great and good family friends was always supported, coming to the house and checking on us, and Uncle Bill. Even though Uncle Bill lived overseas, Uncle Bill, it was like he was here because
my uncle. I think if
That's your
I
dad's brother.
my dad's
and
brother.
I think the time that we went to America,
yes,
that's what is it? 2-3 months that we spent in America.
That's right.
To me, that was
helped.
the best time.
It was
because before that, I just remember not feeling good.
No.
But that time, just
I
spending
remember
that
your
time
mum
with
was
him.
also grieving, so it would have been
Yeah.
difficult for her.
Yes.
Because she's trying to keep everything
to
together.
keep everything
She was
together.
a widow. She was only 27, 28 at the time. 28 at the time.
Oh, wow.
She's got a house, a mortgage, and two children
and
to
two
look
young
after.
children.
You know, so it's like it wasn't easy. But
It just shows how having family
the family,
around you to support. And when I say family, I'm not. It's not always blood, but just that group
really,
of people that are going to support
checking on
you.
us.
Yeah.
talking to us all the time.
And I think,
and that's what you
Daphne
got
was,
traveling
you
to
know,
America
it's like-
gave you that
Yeah.
huge.
definitely.
It did.
And I think
Support.
Uncle Bill was always there.
Yes.
That's the person I always remember there.
Yes.
And Daphne and
Roy.
Roy was always there.
Yeah.
You know,
Those are
in
other
those
family
times.
friends. They were constantly kind of just I mean, I know it affected at the time my schoolwork. I remember leading up to secondary school, where, because like it's like the exam that you take dependent upon which group you go into within your secondary school, whether it's
like 11
like
plus.
an A, B, or
okay.
C.
Stream. They used to
They
stream
stream you. And they always had me for like A, but when I took the test, it was a B. And I remember even thinking, why am I in this B group? But I thought, I'm going to work hard and show them that I need. And I remember after a year, they moved me into the A group. But it was just like, I said, but then it's like another thing though. I felt like I had to step up because where mummy had to go back to work, because mummy wasn't working at the time because
that's
my dad
true,
had the business. She didn't have to work anymore.
Oh,
So mummy had to go back to work. So, and she found a job where she was doing like her nursing again, but they called it twilight nursing. So it was in the evening, 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock. So by the time we're coming back home, she's leaving. So I had to make sure that, I mean, even at the like primary school side, I had to be making sure that Cleo's in school, making sure she's up. So I had to step up, So from like a normal 9-year-old, I had to start acting like at least.
And it's true, because although we were close in age, Andy did play the big sister.
She is the big sister.
And make sure you listen to your sister. And I had to listen to her, you know what I mean?
But
And it's like, when we come in and we had to, like, I remember mum used to, there was no food flask them time, the food was in the flask, but it was in a flask, you know what I mean? And it's like, we used to dish up our food.
Because you didn't want us using our
a
oven.
woman down the road used to check on us, and our grandmother used to come up, and people used to rally round and make sure that we were okay. Until mum come from work. So it was like, but in saying all of this, what I do recall is that at that time, I don't think counselling was the thing that I needed. Right? I don't remember it.
I don't remember.
I just think sometimes just people just being there, sometimes I don't think it's the talking it through and all of this thing. Sometimes it's just someone being there, just there with you, you know?
So I don't know if I'm saying agree to disagree. Because obviously as an adult, losing Rose and then obviously dad and mum, like people have said to me, like, have I done counselling? Now, initially, after mum died, I contacted, I think it's Crew, like Bruno, and what they said to me, I can only tell what they said. They said you are meant to try and grieve naturally. So you're meant to have like a period of time, like, I don't know, 6 months to kind of see. But what the woman has said on the phone to me is that because I'd lost mum and dad within that 7 months, it's not necessarily that easy to kind of go through a natural period, because I feel, and I'm still kind of toying with the idea to do counselling, and simply because yes, we have that support, but how I feel is that anyone that I speak to, or family and friends, it's like you don't want to upset them. So I feel like if you're doing counselling, that person hasn't got any connection with you. So I'm thinking to myself, and I do feel that I will. Do I need it? I feel I need counselling. I do. I feel.
But then that's what I think. If you feel that you need it and it will help you, then that's what you should do. And I think some people do need counselling. And as you said, I think sometimes someone who you don't know might be easier to talk to than people around you. But I think sometimes other people just might need a hug, or sometimes people just may, if they just feel like they want to cry and someone just to hug them at the time. But then that's what they need.
Then you just like, if you talk about crying, I think to myself, the amount of crying that I have done since 2021, well, it's almost like, what's that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is, for us, as you said, your experience as a child and ours as adults.
As adults.
It's weird because I never imagined mum and dad not being here. And even when I say it, I think you're silly, Ver, because why would you not? But
No, but I get it.
never.
I get it.
You just
Rose,
don't,
not for a second, because obviously that was so sudden. So even like now, Rose is what? We're 20, just 4 years. I still, it's almost like I feel like I'm not over it. That's how I feel. Mum and dad, that still feels, and that's coming up. Where are we? 23. It's 2 years for dad, 2 years for mum in October. That feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday, and I just
I don't know if you actually get over it as such. You
I
just
don't think
find
you do.
a way
I think
to
you
kind of-
gradually accept, but you don't actually get over it.
No.
And
Don't.
even with acceptance, you still have good days and bad days.
yeah, definitely.
There's days when you can remember them and you remember funny things and
laugh,
nice,
yeah.
and you laugh and you speak to them.
Yeah.
But there's days where something will just catch you off guard and the tears will come. And and you're choked up like it was.
I feel it in my stomach. Like I will be, as you said, sometimes I'm driving and I'll hear mum or dad and the tears are coming and I'm just like, and I'm kind of saying, why? But it's almost like it's a knot in my stomach.
It's all part of that, though.
Yeah,
It's all part of the process.
Yeah, but they say it's, and I started to read, I should get the details. Someone had recommended a book to me, I can't remember the name, but there's 5 stages of grief, right? So there's anger, acceptance, I can't remember the other 3, I need to find out. But I started reading the book, but I got too emotional reading the book. It's like, I just...
Take your time.
Yeah,
Take your time,
but that's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't
Take your
finished it.
time.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think grief is something that you can never be prepared for, in my opinion. Nothing prepares you for it. Nothing. And I wonder if it's easier as a child or an adult, or as you said, if someone is, like with dad, obviously dad was unwell for a period of time, but we never thought he'd die.
We never
thought he'd
It
die.
was just
Mum,
complete and utter
kept-
shock.
Yeah, she kept
yeah,
fighting.
and even with mum, I think I didn't think she'd die. Because again,
No.
she was very unwell.
Even when she was in the hospital, so the Tuesday before she died, I think you or Laura had called me and said, look, you need to get down. I hadn't seen her for a little while. And I was there when the doctor came and said, Julia, we're not going to send you to dialysis today. And I was like, why not, And he was like, he'll explain to me afterwards. And that's when he said, she's dying. She's only got hours.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I came to
Well,
see you,
hours
Mum, on
to
that day.
days rather
You've
than
done it, remember?
Yes.
rather than days to weeks. So the time was significantly cut down. And even though we knew Mum was going, him saying that, I remember I was choked as if someone had pushed something down my throat. And I
wanna
just
hear it.
It's
hearing it.
we knew how ill she was, but hearing that, I was choked up, and it really, you think you're prepared, but you really are not.
You can't. And I think for mum, like, I'd say 2 occasions. The Friday. So the Friday, she died the Saturday, right? The Friday, the palliative nurse came. It was either the Thursday or the Friday. And they said, they were like, oh, we'll review it over the weekend, but on Monday. And mum, and even I remember when the consultant came, and it was just myself and mum in the room, and she had the 2 drips, what's it called? Pain relief. And mum was saying, to the end, mum was demanding. She was like, she wants to go to the toilet. And I was like, I can't really help you in the toilet by myself. And at the same time, the consultant came and she looked, and mum was sitting in the chair, like a chair like this. I remember the consultant looked, she was like, where's Julia? And she looked, she said, that's Julia. And she was like, oh, she's got weeks, like as in, because remember they had said not long, like days, but she looked at Mum, she's like, she's going to be here for
Well,
at least
myself
a few
and
weeks.
Janet came to visit her on that said day. In the morning, I remember we came.
And she was speaking,
And
right?
she was speaking.
Yeah,
she was speaking.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, he looks very well.
Yeah. But they say that, as you said, your dad looked like a boy.
Yes,
like,
he
They
did.
say they look
He did.
younger.
They go exactly. They
Well,
look.
Auntie Cherry, who died yesterday morning, so she had diabetes, dementia. She had suffered a stroke about a year ago, and she was in hospital about a week, but everyone said, well, I spoke to her son and daughter, and they said that she looked better, so they thought she was getting better.
Yeah, but
And
then,
I said,
that sign.
I know now from a few family members that they, just before they die, they glow. And it's like they brighten up and they look like they're about to make a full recovery. And it's almost like, I don't know, like an acceptance, like they're okay now and they know that they're going.
maybe,
And
just
well, I'd
say-
like to think that, but they definitely have this glow and look like they're getting better, and then they pass, you know, and that's what happened. But there were about 8 of us cousins on a, what do you call it, a group call, video call, and you know, we're all asking what had happened and how is everyone, and then there was a time when none of us was saying anything, but none of us were hanging up, and we just needed. We're in different countries, but we were just all there as a group, just for that support, and we cried and we spoke and we laughed. You know, Auntie Cherry in hospital was asking if the person next door in the bed next to her, she thought it was a woman, but it was
a woman,
no, she thought it was a woman, but it was a man.
The beard, like,
why you never share? You know, so we were laughing about that,
right?
and it's nice that you can laugh, but you're laughing and you're choking with tears at the same time. Grief is it's such a horrible thing to go through, and yet we all know that we're all going to go through it at some stage or another.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.